On the program today, we're talking about some themes to be thinking about if you are an investor, or if you're someone who wants to be an investor and you're sitting there with cash and you're trying to figure out, well, so much uncertainty, there's always uncertainty, and what are some of the things that I should be kind of thinking about that might encourage me to say, okay, the world 10 years from now is going to look very different. How do I participate in that? How do I look at those trends that are certainly going to continue to develop over the course of the next few years and use those as sort of foundational pieces for how I am investing money? And we talked a little bit about a couple of them. The first, of course, is COVID. Is COVID going to be a period where extreme adversity hits society and that ultimately spurs innovation and behavioral change? Not unlike Pearl Harbor. When you think of the fact that when Pearl Harbor happened, 3/4 of the U.S. artillery was horse-drawn, and then by the end of that, we were in the atomic age. Periods of extreme adversity have a tendency to spur innovation and behavioral change. Just think of where we're at just a year into this. First of all, we already got 25% of the population vaccinated. That's an incredible feat within an incredibly short period of time. Everybody's working from home. Everybody's doing things online. I mean, it's almost as a seamless transition, but not really seamless. There was a lot of bumps along the way. That period of time spurred or compressed the timetables of these trends that were percolating out there into months instead of years. You can think of the same thing when you kind of look at global financial transactions, digital payment transactions, as you move more to a cashless, not dollarless, don't confuse the two, a cashless society where it's more swipe, tap, go, use the phone, click, there, you're off, and that's that. That's another sort of amazing trend. So we got a few more that we want to share with you here on the program. Welcome, of course, back to Dollars and Cents, where we help you make sense out of all of life's decisions involving your dollars. My name is Joel Garris, certified financial planner, certified financial fiduciary with Nelson Financial Planning, where our team of certified financial fiduciary stands ready this week to help you change your life with a successful and cost-effective financial plan. So another fascinating development, right, in the world of pharmaceuticals is this notion of continuing to see improvement in cancer care. It really is amazing between cell therapy, early diagnosis, and all of the suite of newer drugs that are out there that ultimately could be a big driver of what goes on in the pharmaceutical industry. Certainly some exciting developments with cancer treatment, and it's great to see the results of all of those sort of happening along the way. So just think of how much progress has been made on that front just over the course of the past few years. Think about what might happen over the course of the next few. Some exciting development, certainly when it comes to pharmaceuticals and cancer. And certainly all the pharmaceutical companies certainly rescued themselves pretty well by developing the vaccine. At multiple companies have developed the vaccine, and they've done that in a record time. I think that probably takes the heat off of them from a government regulatory perspective anytime soon, given how quickly they were to be able to develop things. And I guess that's, when you think about healthcare, and the innovation, you saw during the course of COVID a broader acceptance to telehealth appointments, right? I mean, it's amazing how those have become a part of society where you take a little bit of a trend that was happening before the pandemic, and it's dramatically accelerated. I was with my mom this past week and actually wound up kind of doing a telehealth appointment, and it just works, right? You don't even have to leave the house. That's a much greater efficiency and easier access to a doctor's expertise. If you think back, the old Star Trek movie where you had the tricorder, right? So the tricorder was the handheld medical device that scanned the body, right? Got your vital signs, issued a diagnosis, and prescribed treatment all within minutes. That was the tricorder, if you think of the old Star Trek stuff. We might be getting closer to that, if you think about that, right? Those devices are coming. If you talk to anybody that's been on a heart monitor or a sleeping monitor or diabetes or heart, there's been 29% annual growth on this stuff over the course of the past 5 years, and it's expected that growth rate will continue going forward. So certainly some pretty exciting things when you think about healthcare and the developments there. I am of a certain age, over 50, and one of the things that your doctor should be asking you about if you're over 50 is the infamous colonoscopy. Well, we had the conversation here about, what was that, back in January, and he's like, well, you're not really at risk, but here, you should do the Cologuard. And the Cologuard is you get a box delivered to the house. Now, I haven't opened the box. It's been sitting there by the door for about a month. But basically, Cologuard, right, is something that you would do at home. So you can kind of figure out what that process is. I haven't opened the box to determine that, but I'm pretty sure that's what the process is. Whereby a colonoscopy, right, you're basically, it's not general anesthesia, but you're pretty knocked out. And the risk of getting your colon pierced by the machine as it's going up, there's definitely that risk. And now you get a box at the house, and you can just deal with it at the house. That's a pretty significant development if you stop and think about that. That improves early detection, that improves efficient treatment, and all of those things are pretty dramatic. And if you get early detection, then obviously you don't have extensive treatment. Renewable energy, obviously current administration, right? That's a big priority. Besides the current administration, I think there were already a lot of tailwinds in this sector, particularly when you look and think about automation and you think about artificial intelligence, and again, artificial intelligence is just simply another word for looking at a bunch of data and drawing conclusions from it. And that is certainly the case where that has allowed the costs to come down and productivity and efficiency to be boosted when it comes to energy power, renewable energy power, those kinds of things. So 30 years from now, it's widely projected that solar and wind, because of these developments, are expected to account for about 40% of the world's power generation. So amazing stuff there. Same thing, right? Electric and autonomous vehicles. Next decade, they expect that there to be a 28% annualized growth for electric vehicle fleet worldwide. So next decade, 28% per year is the expected growth. And if you think of that obviously 28%, that's a pretty big number. If you think ahead to 2030, you can see where, particularly in major cities, where you've got fleets of autonomous electric vehicles operating, and that really allows the personal vehicle that no longer really needed as a necessary or as a primary form of transportation, particularly in most major cities. And so when you think about that, that obviously has a positive impact on global emissions as well. It takes a lot to produce a car. It's a pretty manufacturing intensive process. And so if you don't have as many cars because you've got more autonomous or electric vehicle fleets, then that obviously changes things dramatically as well. What won't change over the course of the next many, many years is the keys to successful investing, right? Being consistent, being diversified, and investing money on a regular basis. So keep those themes in mind as you think about how to improve or start being an investor and looking ahead to the next few years. So we're going to wrap it up and take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about Social Security here on the program next on Dollars and Cents.